Welcome to the deep dive. We have an incredibly dense, landscape-shifting stack of research on the table today, and I am just so ready to get into it.
It really is a massive amount of data to process.
Yeah. We are looking at a brand new, highly comprehensive report from March 2026 by Dr. Ya. It's titled From Chatbots to Agentic AI Organizational Transformation and the Future of Data Careers.
And when we say comprehensive, we mean this report synthesizes major studies from McKinsey, the ILO, Deloitte, IBM, S&P Global, and AWS.
It is practically the ultimate roadmap for where the world of work is heading right this very second.
It really is a landmark piece of synthesis. It's not just another theoretical paper about artificial intelligence.
Right.
It is a deeply grounded look at how AI is actively dismantling and rebuilding corporate structures,
Right.
business models, and specifically careers in data analytics and data science.
Which is precisely why we are doing this deep dive for you today. If you are listening to this, chances are you are deeply embedded in the data world.
You might be a professor teaching data analytics, trying to figure out what on earth your syllabus should look like next semester.
Or maybe you're a college student sitting in a data science lecture right now wondering what your job title is actually going to be when you graduate.
Exactly.
We are going to map out the largest paradigm shift since the digital revolution, what agentic AI actually means for the future of data careers, and how you need to adapt your curriculum and coursework.
It's a fundamental shift in how we work.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Mm-hmm.
To start us off, how exactly did we get here, and what makes agentic AI so completely different from the AI we've been using for the past few years?
Well, to understand where we are, it helps to look at the timeline provided by the Cloud Security Alliance data in the report. They break this evolution down into 4 distinct generations.
Right, 4 generations.
Right, so generation 1 was the era of rule-based chatbots. Think back to those simple, highly frustrating scripts where you click a button on a customer service website and it gives you a pre-programmed answer.
Oh, right. The bots that always inevitably made you scream, "Speak to a human," into your phone.
Precisely. It was just a glorified decision tree. Then we moved to generation 2, which brought us conversational AI.
Natural language processing.
Exactly. You could actually speak to it in normal sentences, like a digital assistant on your phone or a smart speaker in your kitchen.
And then generation 3.
Generation 3 was the generative AI boom.
Mm.
These are the large language models, the LLMs we've all been using recently to write boilerplate code or synthesize insights or draft emails.
The stuff that blew everyone's minds just a couple of years ago. You type in a prompt and it spits out a pretty decent essay or a functional Python script.
Yes, but now we are officially in generation 4.
Agentic AI.
Right, agentic AI. These are autonomous systems that don't just generate text or code based on a single prompt. They can actually plan reason and execute complex multi-step workflows from beginning to end entirely without human guidance. Amazon Web Services describe these agents as fully integrated digital collaborators within enterprise systems.
Nice.
They aren't just tools you query, they are agents you deploy. What's fascinating here is the fundamental shift from task-oriented AI to goal-oriented AI.
Break that down for me. Task-oriented versus goal-oriented.
IBM's 2025 book on AI strategy captures this perfectly. In the generative era, you might ask an AI to summarize a specific document. That is a task.
Right.
In the agentic era, you give the AI a high-level goal. You say, build an itinerary for our upcoming conference research. These 5 target companies cross-reference their financial filings and generate simulated interview questions for our executive candidates based on their weaknesses.
And it just does all of that.
It figures out all the necessary intermediate steps, accesses the right databases, corrects its own errors along the way, and executes the entire project autonomously. IBM calls this the moment organizations transition from simply using AI to actually flying with AI.
Flying with AI. I really like that framing. But I have to ask about the speed here, because reading through the McKinsey data from September 2025, the acceleration seems almost impossible to keep up with.
The acceleration is staggering. McKinsey quantified this in their report, The Agentic Organization. They found that the length and complexity of tasks AI can reliably complete has been doubling every 7 months since 2019.
Doubling every 7 months.
And since 2024, that acceleration has increased to doubling every 4 months.
That is insane.
At this current trajectory, McKinsey projects that by 2027, AI systems could complete 4 full days of unsupervised complex work.
Okay, let's pause there for a second. 4 full days of entirely unsupervised work. How does a company even function if an AI is doing 4 days of heavy lifting without a human checking in?
That is the exact question corporate boards are wrestling with right now, and it forces a complete reimagining of what a company even looks like.
Because the old structures just don't hold up.
Exactly. If you have digital agents capable of executing multi-day autonomous projects, the traditional corporate org chart completely falls apart. Historically, organizations are built around rigid functional silos and hierarchical delegation.
You have a manager who manages directors who manage specialists.
But McKinsey's December 2025 research argues that these old organization charts are dead. They are being replaced by what they call work charts.
Org charts.
Yes, which are essentially dynamic networks based on exchanging tasks and outcomes rather than managing human reporting lines.
Which paints this incredible picture of the new human plus agent team. Let's actually visualize this for the listeners. What does a work chart look like on a random Tuesday?
Let's use agentic budgeting as an example, which is something early movers in the corporate space are already doing. In the old model, a human finance manager would assign 3 junior analysts to pull data, build spreadsheets, and forecast next quarter's budget. It would take weeks.
A very standard workflow.
Right. Under a workshop model, that same human manager has a tiny team, maybe just one other person, but they're orchestrating dozens of AI agents. On Monday morning, an AI data agent has already pulled real-time metrics from AWS.
Okay.
A scenario agent has run thousands of predictive financial forecasts. A reporting agent has drafted the strategy memo.
So the humans aren't doing the manual assembly at all.
The human manager's job isn't to build the spreadsheet. Their job is to evaluate the strategy, catch contextual nuances the AI missed, and make the final executive decision. It's completely decentralized.
That sounds incredibly efficient, but also a little utopian. Is that actually happening on the ground, or is that just what tech companies are promising in their sales decks?
That brings us to a very sobering reality check from the Deloitte 2026 report. They surveyed over 3,000 leaders and found that while worker access to AI rose by 50% in 2025, and 80% of organizations are using generative AI in some capacity, a full 80% of them are seeing absolutely no bottom line impact.
Wait, 80% use it, but 80% see no impact. That seems like a massive contradiction.
It comes down to how they are deploying it. Deloitte found that only 34% of organizations are actually reimagining their business models and operating structures around this technology.
And what are the rest doing?
The vast majority are falling into a trap. They are simply taking AI and layering it on top of their slow legacy processes.
It's like putting a Ferrari engine inside a horse-drawn carriage. You're just going to crash the carriage faster.
That is a great way to put it. If you have a highly bureaucratic, multi-layered approval process that takes 3 weeks just to sign off on a data migration, using an AI agent to write the approval memo 10 minutes faster doesn't actually change your bottom line.
You haven't fundamentally changed the workflow.
You're just doing the wrong thing slightly faster.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. What does this mean for the people actually doing the work? Because if I'm a listener right now and I hear that AI can do 4 days of unsupervised work, my immediate thought is, well, my job is gone. Are we just looking at a future of mass unemployment for data professionals?
It is the most urgent question we can ask. The data from the International Labor Organization's global assessment in May 2025 paints a very nuanced picture.
What did they find?
They found that globally, 1 in 4 workers is in an occupation with some degree of generative AI exposure. In high-income countries, that number jumps to 1 in 3 workers.
And there's a specific demographic skew in that ILO data that we need to talk about, right?
Yes, and it's a critical point for educational institutions to understand. Women face a disproportionate amount of exposure. According to the ILO, 4.7% of female employment falls into the highest exposure category compared to only 2.4% for men.
That's nearly double.
It is. This largely has to do with the historical clustering of women in administrative, clerical, and routine data entry roles, the exact types of roles that are highly susceptible to automation by these new agents.
Okay, I have to challenge the optimistic view here. If women are facing double the exposure and AI can do 4 days of work, how does a company not just fire a huge chunk of their staff? I know the S&P Global Servo says employment will stay flat, but how does the math on that actually work?
It's a fair challenge. The math works because the nature of the work itself expands. S&P Global's enterprise data, along with academic research from Elon Du and colleagues, converge on the conclusion that the story is transformation, not elimination.
Transformation.
Think of it as a massive redistribution of tasks. The purely technical, repetitive tasks, cleaning the data, running basic SQL scripts, formatting the report, those shift to the AI.
Right, the grunt work.
But because the AI is doing that heavy lifting so quickly, the company's capacity to tackle complex problems explodes. Suddenly, they need people to contextualize that data to provide strategic guidance to design the architecture of these agentic networks.
So the pie just gets bigger.
Precisely. And we have the numbers from the IBM AI Workforce Consortium to back that up. They reported that demand for AI-related roles has surged 323% over the past 8 years.
323%.
Yes. Looking forward, they project a 30 to 35% growth for AI and machine learning specialists and a 40% growth for data analysts, scientists, and big data specialists.
The jobs aren't vanishing, they are evolving into higher order functions.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the most vital part of Dr. Ya's report. If you are teaching data science right now, or if you're a college student studying analytics, I want you to listen closely to this next part, because this directly impacts what you do on Monday morning. How you teach and how you learn has to change immediately.
There is a very specific trap that educational institutions are falling into right now. Research published in Science Direct in 2025 points out that if a student graduates today trained only in specific tools, they're going to struggle immensely.
Because the AI already knows the tools.
Exactly. If your entire skill set is just knowing how to write Python scripts to clean a data set, or knowing which buttons to click to build a draft dashboard in Tableau, you are competing against an agentic AI that can do that in seconds.
So what does a redesigned syllabus actually look like? If I'm a professor, I can't just tell my students, hey, AI exists now, good luck.
A redesigned syllabus moves from tool instruction to orchestration and auditing. You have to combine statistics fundamentals, data architecture, business strategy, communication, and AI orchestration skills.
Give me an example of what that looks like in a classroom.
For example, instead of giving your students a raw data set and asking them to write a script to clean it, you give them a data set that an AI agent has already cleaned, but you ensure the AI did it poorly.
Oh, I see.
You leave structural errors or instances where the AI hallucinated data points. The assignment for the student is to audit the AI's work, identify where the logic broke down, and write a governance protocol to prevent that agent from making the same mistake in a live corporate environment.
That is such a tangible shift. It's moving from being the mechanic to being the factory floor manager. And there is a perfect analogy in the report for this that I really want to highlight because I think it brings this entire concept home.
The calculator analogy.
Yes. Think about when electronic calculators first became powerful and widely available in classrooms. We didn't throw our hands up and eliminate mathematicians. We didn't say, well, the machine can do long division, so math is over. What did we do?
We raised the level of mathematics.
Exactly. We started teaching higher-level calculus, physics, and engineering because the calculator handled the rote computation. Generative and agentic AI are doing the exact same thing to data science right now.
It's raising the baseline.
We are raising the level of data science. You aren't being replaced by a calculator. You're being asked to solve bigger, infinitely more complex problems.
And solving those bigger problems requires entirely new job categories. The college students listening today should be preparing for career paths that quite literally didn't exist 5 years ago.
Like what?
We are talking about roles like AI supervisors who oversee the outputs of agentic networks and ensure they are hitting business goals. You have AI governance leads, data ethicists, automation architects who design the complex workflows between different AI agents.
And hybrid data AI product managers.
Yes.
Let's define that one because hybrid data AI product manager, it sounds like a mouthful of corporate jargon. What does that person actually do?
A hybrid data AI product manager is someone who acts as the bridge. They don't just write the code for the AI, they deeply understand the business strategy the company is executing.
So they connect the tech to the business goal.
Right. They manage the AI almost like an employee, ensuring that the data the AI is pulling actually serves the strategic vision of the company. It's a role that requires a mix of technical literacy and high-level business acumen.
Which makes total sense.
And roles like this are why McKinsey notes that by 2030, 75% of current jobs will require significant redesign or upskilling.
Which highlights a fascinating dynamic that IBM identified in their research regarding data literacy. They found a massive inverse relationship between data literacy and the general population inside most companies.
That gap is huge.
You have your data scientists and engineers on one end, incredibly highly literate, but there are very few of them. On the other end, the vast majority of the company are just casual data consumers.
And generative AI is finally bridging that gap. Now, someone in marketing or HR can query complex databases using natural language, but that creates an explosive demand for people who can govern, curate, and interpret all that data at a massive scale.
Because if everyone in the company can suddenly generate charts and forecasts, You need highly trained professionals to ensure that data is accurate and secure.
Exactly. But getting a workforce to that level of literacy requires a massive commitment to learning. And reading through the IBM data, the lack of leadership on this front is actually shocking.
It really is.
It's a profound failure in corporate leadership right now. Despite this massive paradigm shift, only 15% of leaders see learning as a core part of their strategy,
15%.
and only 24% actually connect their corporate strategy to their reskilling efforts.
So they are essentially treating the AI revolution like a minor software update, like downloading a new version of Excel instead of recognizing it as a fundamental workforce transformation.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, IBM introduces a concept that I think is essential for everyone, especially students, to grasp the rise of new-collar work.
New collar.
We've spent a century dividing the workforce into blue-collar and white-collar jobs, but in the agentic era, those distinctions are fading. Success is no longer determined strictly by your specific degree or your department title. It's determined by your curiosity.
Curiosity as a measurable skill. I love that.
It is the ultimate currency now. IBM's internal data reveals that their top performers across the board are consistently the individuals who invest the most time in developing new skills and learning how to collaborate with AI.
It's about adaptability.
The people who thrive will be the ones who are constantly asking, what new tool can I learn today, and how can I apply it to a problem we couldn't solve yesterday?
And that adaptability is what preserves the human edge in all of this. Deloitte's ultimate conclusion in their 2026 report is so validating. They stress that the future of work is not humans or machines. The future is humans with machines.
Humans with machines, yes.
Okay. Because no matter how advanced an AI agent gets at projecting a budget, querying a database, or even correcting its own code, it cannot emulate emotional intelligence. It cannot emulate true leadership, complex problem solving in ambiguous human contexts, or the nuances of strategic critical thinking.
Those are the innately human attributes.
And just like with the calculator analogy, those attributes will become more valuable, not less, as the machines take over the routine tasks.
The technology is here to unlock human potential, not to bench the human race. It's a tool for elevation.
So what does this all mean? Let's bring it all together for you, the educators and the students out there. We have definitively moved past the era of simple chatbots and entered the era of autonomous agentic AI.
The traditional corporate ladder is being dismantled and replaced by fluid AI-integrated work networks.
For those of you teaching and studying data, the mandate from all of this research could not be clearer. Stop treating AI like a cheating tool or a job stealer. You have to start treating it as an orchestration partner.
Adapt your curriculums today.
If you are an educator, move away from rote tool instruction and start teaching AI supervision, auditing, and architecture. If you are a student, adapt your study habits. Don't just learn a coding language that an AI can write in 3 seconds. Learn the strategic thinking of why that code matters to a business.
And as you adapt your coursework and your careers, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over, building on that McKinsey projection we discussed earlier.
The 4 days of unsupervised work.
Right. If AI agents will soon be capable of completing 4 full days of complex, unsupervised work, what happens to the human work week?
That's the million-dollar question.
Do we simply shrink our required labor to 1 day a week and enjoy unprecedented leisure? Or, as human history strongly suggests, will our innate curiosity lead us to invent entirely new categories of work, massive new global problems to solve, and entire industries that we currently don't even have the vocabulary to describe?
That is a phenomenal question to end on. A massive thank you to all of you for joining us on this deep dive. Whether you're heading to the front of the classroom to teach a newly redesigned syllabus or taking notes in the back of the lecture hall, the future of data is wide open for those ready to lead it. Keep learning, keep questioning, and we will catch you on the next one.